Well, for a little bit more about what's happening on the ground, we're now joined by Abed Karrim, who's the Project Co-ordinator at the Al-Imdaad Foundation, which is an NGO in KwaZulu-Natal. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Peter, and good evening to you and the viewers.
The last time we spoke, you were right in the middle of it. The floods were active and there was emergency movements and care that was required at the time. A few weeks later, what is the need on the ground now?
Once again, thank you very much for giving us the Al-Imdaad Foundation opportunity just to update with regards to the situation on the ground. We go back to the 7th of April, between 7th and 11th of April, when the floods, had come into Durban and the devastation that had taken place. The first response was emergency relief and assisting families and going out and helping. And like the Premier had mentioned, there was, emergency rescue, etc., etc. We take you back now to about 2 weeks back or 3 weeks back. We continue to service the communities in halls. And like it's been said that many of the households, homes have been washed away. Many of them are staying with family and friends. And the need on the ground, as we were working for the last 3-4 weeks now, it was the need for mattresses, blankets, hygiene packs. And one of the biggest needs was food, and also food for children, and of course not forgetting the young, babies that needed, the different types of food for the children. Also, a very big situation right now is in Tongaat, which we all know now is over 60 days they don't have any water. So the Al-Imdaad Foundation had assisted out with, and is still there on the ground with our water tankers, and we have put in about 57 to 60 JoJo tanks that we have assisted with the community and working with the local community who have organized themselves in a very structured and organized manner, and have been placing these JoJo tanks in the different street corners so the community can have access to the water. Now, very important to understand that it is over 60 days and they do not have water. And just to give you this update, that there are about 10 to 11 of the metro disaster and the metro tankers that are operational, and not forgetting there's about 8 or 9 private tankers, and you have the individuals who send their tankers in the area. So what is happening is that during the day and during the night, some of them are even working. When I say some of them, I mean the community activists, those who are putting their shoulder to the wheel and making sure that those JoJo tanks are filled up every night. So when the community wakes up in the morning, they have water in those JoJo tanks. One of the challenges, when I was speaking to the coordinators there earlier on, is that the access to bulk water, I think one of the supplies has got a few challenges, and you have sometimes like 10 to 15 trucks that are, 25,000 liter trucks, some are 40,000 liter water trucks, and you got to wait in the line to, at bulk water to fill them up and go and assist the community. Having said that, this is the scenario that is still continuing in Tongaat, and not only the Al-Imdaad Foundation, but many other organizations are also assisting in Tongaat and trying to, make life a bit comfortable and bring water to this community. If I go back 6 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, many of them were walking from those flats and coming down to a point and carrying water back to their flats. Think about the elderly, the sick, the cripple, and all these people, was very difficult for them. So now, by having this, JoJo tanks in place in the different parts of Tongaat has assisted quite a bit. Let us go back now to the different areas in eThekwini that has needs in the halls. People are staying with families, staying with neighbors. We are getting a lot of requests for assistance with food. And you and I know that the need for food is really great in these circumstances. Many of them are still staying in the halls, not the ideal situation. The Al-Imdaad Foundation being coordinated by Disaster Management of eThekwini, the provincial government, and working with other NGOs on the ground, and to try and avoid duplication, the foundation is continuing to assist wherever the need is. What we have also have understanding is that many of the rural areas where the Al-Imdaad Foundation has been gone to, for example, we have Kwa Inyusi, Kwa Makuta, Fulweni, Umbumbulu, Adams Mission, Marion Ridge, Nazareth, we've been to Intuzuma, Inanda, Craigieburn, Hammersdale. I can continue with the list of all the areas that the Al-Imdaad Foundation has been gone out to assist these families. And again, I said that we've been coordinated by disaster management. So the situation on the ground to bring back all these people to go back into their homes and go and get back to normal life. Of course, as you had mentioned, that there is a need, lots of money is needed to rehabilitate these people. But how long and when, my guess is good as yours, and I'm sure that the authorities are trying their best, trying to make things more faster. At the same time, the Al-Imdaad Foundation, with many other, individuals and business houses, are continuing with our relief work. And whenever the need is via disaster management, we are being coordinated to make sure that we are there to assist. Now, let us also understand something. It was not only the flood. We also been into Ugu district, and we've been to Umuza Wabantu area, and that is known as Harding. We went into that area also and assisted many of them who were through storm damages, had also had their houses and their goods and all their stuff has been affected. We also been to Ilembe district, that's in Dwedwe, and assisted out many of those families that were affected by storm damages, where their houses has fallen down, where it has been washed away, etc. So the foundation, Al-Imdaad Foundation, continues to assist in partnership with eThekwini disaster, Ugu disaster, Ilembe disaster management teams, and going out and assisting in the community. But at the same time, we must also say that the South African community is a very giving community. Everybody has come to the assistance of our community in a small way, in a big way. Corporates have come in, NGOs have come in, everybody has come in. But there is a point where the NGOs that are not funded, adequately, or by government or anybody else, you run short, So it is important now that where our provincial government, national government has to come in, social development, etc., which they have been working, but they need to continue, because as NGOs, you come to a point where, your funds have, come down a little, and you cannot continue, with it. But so far, with the help of the Almighty, many of us have continued, and we hope to continue assisting our communities to make life a bit more comfortable and make it easy. Yes, we are not going to solve their problem immediately, because there's a lot of funding that's needed. You need to build new houses. You need to do all those things, rehabilitate the people. And in our small way, we are trying to make life comfortable for our people on the ground there.
All right. Well, one of the things that you mentioned is this desperate need for water. And in my experience, where there is a shortage of water, there's always health concerns that come along with it. Have you started to see some of issues involving health where water is missing?
Peter, in our concentration as the Al-Imdaad Foundation, we have been assisting, like I said earlier on, in the Tongaat area. The entire Tongaat has got no water. In my being on the ground there with my team, I have not noticed any issues of health, unless there's something has taken that maybe Department of Health can come and give advice on. However, we have not seen that situation. But yes, water is one of the greatest needs, especially potable water. People need drinking water, etc. So we haven't noticed any of that in our interaction with the community on the ground and assisting them in filling these JoJo tanks.
What about children, school and things like that? They must be disrupted enormously.
Well, one of the things that came out very clearly in one of my interactions with the National Department of Social Development is that children is a huge concern. They need to get back into their normal lives. Many of the toddlers and children that are in the halls, their playing time, their space to run around and, enjoy life at this point has been compromised. And one of the things that in the discussions, informally, was that it's priority now to try and get these young children and get these children to school, because many of them are not in their normal situation at the moment, and they have to be placed in schools nearby. School uniforms have become a problem, school shoes, etc., that any child, your child, my child will need. But to be moved out of your environment due to the floods and so forth is not of the most easiest things. And myself, again, coming from Ladysmith, and I've been through over 16 floods in the years gone by. We know how uncomfortable and how challenging it could be to be sleeping in those halls. And let us understand something, Peter. Many of these families, with their children, with their toddlers, sleeping in the hall, it's not the ideal situation. And I would think it's very important for government to now look at alternate as quick as possible, because it's not the ideal situation to have everybody in that one hall. And, many things can be not very, very comfortable to be in that environment, men, women, children, in different sections of the hall. But it is very, very difficult to be there. And with regards to the children, you are right, they're 100%, that they need to be, back into their environment, hopefully, or placed in adequate type of rehabilitation, would it, in the long term, of course, to build their homes for them again.
And we mustn't forget that we're still in the middle of a pandemic. COVID-19 safety issues, is that something that is a worry for you?
It's a worry for me and for everybody, I would think, because remember, you are in the situation, and we know there are some numbers that are going up and so forth that we are picking up in the press and so forth. And if you look at the halls in where these victims of the flood is, it's not the most conducive situation that they are in. It is very, very uncomfortable, not the ideal situation. Like I said, and I'm reiterating, the priority, I would think, as an NGO, that what we are seeing when we go into these halls and we see the amount of people that are in these halls, it is important that they now be rehabilitated in some way or the other by the provincial government and national government. Because, like you said, the pandemic is out there and the environment is not conducive to have everybody so close to each other.
All right, Mr. Karrim, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for joining us. And we wish you strength with the work that you continue to do. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you. All right, that's Project Co-ordinator at the Al-Imdaad Foundation, Abed Karrim, speaking to us about the ongoing needs of people that were displaced by the floods that swept across parts of KwaZulu-Natal in April.